All right. So, doing something a little different than the typical bike videos, bike journals that I do. I'm actually up in my old stomping grounds, Dawson City, Yukon territory right now. Came up for a wedding, see a bunch of pals, and behind me is where we're staying, a little tiny home on the property of our good friends Fred and Jake. And as part of this project, I've been thinking a lot about my time up in Dawson. I was up here for 8 years, learned a lot, grew a lot, and I've been thinking a lot about how that experience has played into my research, my project, and my growth as a person as a whole. So thought I'd make a little video about that, and actually Jake has agreed to do a little interview and tour their property. As you can see, pretty expensive property here. Got a whole farm set up and greenhouse and all sorts of things. Jake and Fred do a lot of work, do a lot of interesting things, and so thought we'd just do something a little different. So today, talk about life up here in the far north, and DIY culture and what it's all about, some of the challenges of living up here and some of the solutions. And so I'm just going to go find Jake, and we're going to sit down, do a little interview, and maybe tour around the property. And yeah, hopefully it's a good, informative video, and we'll see what happens.
Recording.
All right, sweet. And look at that. We found Jake over here. Hi, Jake. How you doing? Say hi.
Hi.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay. What should I say? My name's Jacob John Armstrong. Well, we got some weather rolling in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just a bit of shade.
I don't know.
So,
what else do you say?
Yeah. Jacob Armstrong. Go by Jake. Where are you from?
I grew up in North Halton Hills, just up the road from you, on Georgetown, Erin, Acton area.
Yeah. What brought you up here to Dawson City, to the Yukon?
Well, I came back from traveling around, circumnavigating the globe, and then I had in my mind to make a veggie truck, or old diesel truck that ran on vegetable oil, and I went mushroom picking with my old buddy Matt Susie, the Pickle King, picking in northern BC, and then all the buds were up here after picking, so we followed them up and drove up to Dawson. Matt really built it up for 6 days of driving, and he was right. We came here and been here ever since.
Yeah.
I think that's what brought me up, really.
Yeah, it's kind of a classic story, eh?
Yeah.
People hear like these whispers of
Yeah.
Dawson City, the Yukon.
And I hadn't heard about it. I remember being a kid drawing those maps, where you color all the provinces and territories and labeling Whitehorse, and I thought that's a funny name for a capital. But it was never in my mind about the Yukon, I always thought it was cold and snowy.
Yeah, it's probably what a lot of people think, eh?
Yeah.
I think that's pretty
We all
common.
live in igloos. And
Yeah. So, okay. For someone who's never been up here to the Yukon, to Dawson City, how do you properly describe it? So they're not thinking it's just cold all the time. What's life like up here? In a nutshell.
In a nutshell, it's remote. It's super remote. There's nothing that way there's just nothing. There's Old Crow and there's bush and tundra and 600 clicks that way. It's Whitehorse and a couple of little communities between. It's remote.
Yeah.
It's a land of extremes. It's untouched.
Yeah.
Mostly.
A lot of empty space there, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah,
Canada.
everything's very far.
Yeah, like
600 kilometers to Whitehorse.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for the resource extraction industry, then there would be no no reason for people to settle this place, really. Like, settle white people, colonizers, they would just pass it over and see it as a barren wasteland, basically.
Yeah.
It's remote. It's sparsely populated with wildlife too, I feel, but it's very much alive.
Yeah. Well, and like the history of Dawson City, I mean,
Yeah.
First Nations folks have lived here for a long time, the Trondikwetchin, right?
Rolling around 10,000 years, passing through this area and doing the fish camps at Chochek and moving along, but
The popular narrative centers around
the gold.
the gold, the Klondike Gold Rush.
Yeah. But yeah, it's remote. The community, because of that, is very tight, and it's like people on an island almost, you know, like people on an island really look out for each other. And I feel like even though we're on the mainland, it's that same sense of like community and strength with each other.
Yeah, that's something that I think that's part of what kept me up here so long was community. Like direct community aid. Everybody's looking out for each other.
Yeah, there's lots of support for the arts through the feds. Like, the Yukon's heavily subsidized because we don't make any money here. There's no tax revenue. There's 40,000 people, permanent residents. So
only about 2,000 permanent residents in Dawson.
I would say
Give or
over
take.
that, but there's a lot of people that fly under the radar because they live in cabins and aren't on the official census. But
a lot of off-grid living here.
a lot of that, a lot of transient folks that come and go, and just they don't get counted.
Come work for a season, and a lot of folks come work for a season.
A lot of
and
folks
then
come,
end up just
they
sticking
come
around
back
for 5, 10.
So that's
20,
what happened to me, because
whatever years.
the first year I was hip here, it snowed in August. On the 27th, it was my mom's birthday, so I remember it well. And I thought, I gotta get the fuck out of here. It's August, and I did shortly after, and went to California to work. But it kept coming back.
Yeah. Well, that's something too. The seasons and the weather and
It's an extreme
natural.
It's an extreme landscape and seasonal change. The light, the weather. Plus 30 right now, and in a few months it'll be minus 30.
Yeah. Well, in the summer, you got midnight sun, especially like we just had it was just solstice. Yeah. Longest day of the year. It's bright out.
Yeah.
24 hours.
And it makes up for all the darkness. You kind of forget about it.
Yeah.
Almost.
Winters are long, dark, cold.
Yeah. I always think of living up here like the year is like one big day, you know, and right now we're at noon. We're at high noon, and everyone's going hard and happy, and then September it's starting to get to dusk and twilighty hours are coming back, and then winter solstice is midnight and everyone's hibernating and asleep and curled up in their cabins,
trying to stay warm,
trying to stay not depressed.
The lack of sunlight really does a number.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's where the community comes in, and looking out for each other, and
checking in,
throwing
out.
fun events and stuff to just get people out of the house.
A little pond hockey,
a couple
of house
music,
shows, eat supper.
Yeah. And I mean, the summertime's not all, midnight sun and roses either. Like, summer brings its own challenges, right? Like, right now we're kind of socked in by wildfires.
Yeah.
Looks like it's getting a bit better, but
that comes with it. Yeah, it puts the natural environment puts you in your place up here. You have no control. Everywhere else people try to control the environment, and here I feel like it's futile.
Yeah. So what are some of the biggest challenges you kind of face up here, and what are some of your solutions? Like, you got a fair bit going on.
A fair bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. I'm just restless. I always want to do stuff.
You got a lot of food, you got a lot of food stuff going on around here.
Yeah, life up here revolves around food. My leisure time involves hunting and fishing and mushroom picking, and that feels like leisure to me. Gardening, it's work, but it feels relaxing. Life also, yeah, back to the other question, life revolves around the seasons and gathering food, and when things are popping up, you go out in the bush and you grab them. So just got back from mushroom picking. Do that pretty much every year around the 13th of June.
Picking morels.
Picking morels, the old burns, about 100 miles up the river with driftwood holly, and picked a whole shitload of mushrooms.
Yeah, you got a good haul.
Brought them back and dehydrate them, and somebody just came to pick some up. Fresh morels and oysters and lion's mane. But yeah, life revolves around food here a lot too, because the summer is time to get ready for the winter. Get your freezer full, get your pantry full, grow the stuff.
Yeah.
Fall, process everything, and hunker down for winter.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, because we're so remote, part of it too, you do it for, you know, there's the precarity that like, there's only one, especially in the winter, there's only one highway into here, and if that, you know, something happens to that, you shut down, the food trucks can't come through.
Oh yeah, just like geopolitical stuff too. You can't depend on the vast network that feeds the world to think about us when shit hits the fan. So being self-reliant is having that resiliency and the capacity to like sustain yourself over a season, especially over a winter, is like really important. I think everyone kind of has that in the back of their minds. Because yeah, the highway gets shut down, the food that's trucked up here in the winter sucks, like.
Yeah.
So
it's not just food that you're into either, eh? Like you do, there's a lot of other things that you find.
Food and kind of artsy stuff, and just having wacky ideas and like
building stuff.
But that all comes with the territory. A lot of the stuff is built for food, for water, just making all these little systems to work together to have the outcome of just surviving, really.
Yeah.
And it feels good. Like it feels good to have your year's supply of taters, you know, or your freezer full of moose and fish.
Yeah.
It feels good.
That's good, yeah.
Even though you're sore at the end of it.
Yeah. And you're a blacksmith too.
Yes. I'm blacksmith, I guess. More than most blacksmith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been focusing on it a bit more. Yeah, my family was a metalworking family, so I grew up in a sheet metal shop. My brother went to school to be a blacksmith in Halliburton in Ontario. He met his partner there. They started a business. They've kind of like, that's how we really, I don't know, that's how I connect with my brother, because that's his passion. So I just kind of like fell into it and had support through him and guidance and his partner as well. And then my dad, he's been very supportive of us following his footsteps a little bit, although we both didn't want to run a sheet metal shop, so we scrapped that. Although we did work there for many years, but
got into blacksmithing instead.
Yeah, getting into forging is like, it's a different thing, and up here it fits in really nice. Like tourism, people want to buy things because that's the culture. So having little trinkets, they sell well. The city is very supportive too. They've commissioned a lot of work from me and businesses in town. Kind of fits in with the aesthetic of like the gold rush, turn of the century period. Correct ironwork is a necessity, and I've really been pushing that a little bit.
Right. But I mean, it's not just for, you know, selling, you know, it's like whatever pieces to people. Sure. Like you put it to use as well, right? Like
for sure. Like the first sled that I had, I crashed it and busted off the brake lever, and I'm not going to order a brake lever. It's going to take 3 weeks to get here, a month, and then it's gonna cost money and the shipping is ridiculous, so I just forged one, and boom, we have a brake lever in 30-40 minutes.
And there you go.
And all sorts of other stuff, you know, like the chicken gate, or like just brackets for stuff, or like even these steps here, like I could buy stringers for the steps, but that costs money, and I don't have that. I got lots of time though, and a bin of coal and some old scrap lying around, so I just made it.
That's it. Well, I mean, yeah, like same with the food. It takes forever for things to get shipped up here.
Yeah.
If you can even get it
Quality's
shipped up here,
low,
and then it's,
price is high.
yeah. So being able to make your own stuff.
Yeah. And as far as like farming or like growing mushrooms too, it's like, yeah, they get up here, they're all ugly and old and they're expensive. Like mine are a bit more expensive, but they're fresh and they last longer in the fridge, and the quality is top notch.
Top notch. Yeah.
Triple A.
You need mushrooms? This is your guy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, that's it. Hey, like
That's it. The
life up here.
community is great. The freedom, like the lack of oversight.
Oversight, yeah, definitely.
You know,
Ability
you
to
drive an old shitty truck around and people love it, and crack windshield, the cops aren't gonna fuck with you.
yeah.
That's a big thing
Yeah.
for me. I had a lot of run-ins with the police when I was a teenager, and the police situation up here is a lot different than it was in my hometown. There's more maybe respect, or like they don't act like assholes as much because they have to live in this community too for a time,
Yeah.
and they want to be shown respect, so they show respect to the members of the community
yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
That's those fucking white horse
That's
cops
a
get
little
up here.
annoying.
Holy
Yeah.
no, but no, it's a whole different scene
It is.
compared to a lot of places.
Yeah. And I mean, like we said, like there's a lot of emptiness, a lot of open space.
Yeah.
You have a bit more like room to kind of
To get away with
stuff.
stuff.
People looking over your shoulder all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you do seem to have a pretty steady stream of people come by the house to say hi and hang out. And
Oh yeah,
buy mushrooms
I'm
and
on the
whatnot.
way to and from the dump. I'm the first stop in town for the buds, and the last stop before they leave and take off to go south for the winter or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a nice place to
Well,
come and hang out too.
I gotta
Beautiful
say,
garden, and
you've been putting us up. You and Fred are both very generous with your space and your time and your energies, and
yeah,
looking after the community and the folks.
no,
So,
it feels good to do that for
me-
people,
Be a
and
part of that.
people are in need, and we're well set up, and like the old timers had looked out for us. Suzanne, the woman who built this cabin and made this garden and everything, she really hooked it up by letting us take care of her garden for her after she passed away. So we're doing it for her and for, I don't know, the old timers. I think up here are excited to see the new blood come up and keep it going in that same way of like, I don't know, not of being resilient and tough and fucking getting her done, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's true. Like the old timers really kind of, you learned a lot from them, eh?
Oh, for sure. Like all the old river rat guys, just like the knowledge they have of the river and the bush and how the seasons work and hunting, and like I don't know anything. I listen to people and I learn that way. I learn from example, and I try to do the same. Threat
Yeah.
by example.
Yeah. There's a lot of like rich oral knowledge up here too, right? Like a lot of people just,
Yeah, that's the old way of doing it, right?
Yeah.
Like this through like First Nations, through songs and firsthand experience. That's how they passed on their knowledge, and that's like still alive and well
yeah.
in that community. And then also in like the settler community, you know, it's a very diverse group of people. You have lots of people from Europe. Lots of people from Quebec, like the Quebecois community is strong here. The Anglophone community is, well, the same as all over Canada, but it's a good, diverse group of people. Like the new immigrant community is strong. It's for such a remote place. You know, you think of like these little towns that are very rural being like very white or very like not diverse, but this is not that.
It's really diverse community, and because it's so small and so remote, everyone's really like interconnected, interjoined.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah,
and, like,
and there's not a lot of pricks. It's what did I say, like the good old boys. I don't mean all the old racist dudes, but those people are not. Maybe they're here, but they're not
There's
prevalent.
some around,
and people in the wider community doesn't put up with that shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. It's hard to get away with being a fucking openly racist.
Yeah,
here.
homophobic or whatever, and like, I don't know. It's just, I think even if people don't approve or whatever, everyone has the capacity for some mutual respect here.
Yeah.
You know, live and let live is like a big thing. Leave people alone, let them do what they're doing as long as they're not hurting anybody else or the grand rest of it, you know?
Yeah.
Except for the miners and the big corporations, they get a pass.
Yeah. This place ain't without its issues and
For sure, just like everywhere, but...
politics. Yeah. But...
What's your next question, Johnny?
That's a good one. Well, I think it's starting to rain a little bit. So maybe we'll take a little break and then maybe tour us out around the...
Yes.
Out around the property, and we'll talk about some of this stuff a bit more and look
I
at
have
what
my
you got
notes.
going on.
I would say, was it forged?
Yeah.
No, that's
All right,
from
well,
the games. But I would say one more thing about the challenges. The challenges here are a blessing. They put you in a position that you have to come up with your own solution and be creative and also depend on other people. And I feel like that is lacking in broader society, where it's like this independent mindset of like the individual rather than the group, you know, like the commie attitude.
Yeah.
It's very individually focused, and the lack of available resources up here make people more creative and resilient and make do with what they have. And some people can't deal with that and they want their whatever, you know, their luxuries in life. But up here, when you do get them, you appreciate it a lot more. A good cup of Vietnamese coffee, holy fuck. When you get that, you really love it. Or a good piece of chocolate when you're in the woods. You have that one chocolate bar and it makes you appreciate the things that you do have a lot more, I would say.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to say, but that's all about all I have to say about that.
That's I think that's a good spot to end this little chit chat on, and come back for part 2, the walk around of the property.
The walk around.
Thanks, buddy.
25-cent tour.
25-cent tour.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. It's tour time.
Tour time 2006.
Take a walk around the property. Show us all your stuff. We got some...
All the stuff.
You were showing me your sleds yesterday.
Yeah.
We'll throw that in the mix.
We got to rip the sled. You want to do some donuts in the driveway?
You got your tool shed over there, a bunch of your stuff, but what do you want to look at first? We'll go look at the mushrooms first?
We'll go look at the mushrooms. We probably got to pick some mushrooms. I'm gonna wash my hands.
You just got this this big old...
This is my new swimming pool.
Dump truck here.
I convinced Fred she wants it for a swimming pool.
You got a bunch
my thing's leaking.
Space on the other side. It's all dredge pond.
Yeah. So I'm gonna
bunch of rocks
white
left
channel
over
it.
from...
Bought a little cat. Got a dump truck. $1,000 a piece.
Hey.
Hot deal.
Just gotta do some work on the what? The engine there, right?
Yeah, it needs brakes. I drove it over, it got no brakes on it. So just power shifting and putting it in a reverse to brake is a thing that you don't want to do anywhere else in the world.
Especially on a big old dump truck like that, eh?
Yeah. Almost crashed into my other truck coming in the driveway.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's take a look at your mushroom setup here. So
okay, well,
walk us through real quick what you got going on.
Well, I could go on about this for hours, but this is the fruiting chamber. And so we have a humidifier, ultrasonic humidifier that maybe should be on, but oh no, we're at humidity because it's pretty humid out. So we're gonna grab a basket and it's kind of a mess because I got a lot going on. So we have a bunch of mushrooms in here and they're really popping right now. These ones are ready to pick because, well, this one's really ready. You just kind of turn them and twist them off. They're kind of ready when the margin kind of folds up. They're not going to get any bigger and they're going to drop their spores. So you don't want that to happen because it will contaminate the area.
Yeah. How long have you been growing mushrooms for?
A long time.
How did it all start?
I was growing magic mushrooms in high school. I taught myself how to do it just from reading and trial and error. And I had the opportunity to go big with the TH farm. So I did, and I tried to like dial it in. And I did that for a few years. Kind of established a system and a planting schedule so I could have a consistent harvest like weekly. Because we would deliver like veggie boxes and people would sign up and then they would want mushrooms. That would be an add-on. So I had to have a consistent flush every week. And I'm kind of at the point, it's pretty hard to do it because the mushrooms have a mind of their own and they'll just pop when they're ready. But I'm pretty on it. I get about, well, at this point, first flush, I can get 20 pounds a week. I have 10 pounds a week to deliver to some restaurants in town, and there's farmers markets and stuff like that. And then I just post on the community group and people show up to my doorstep and I pick them fresh mushrooms straight off the bucket and they love it.
What kind of mushrooms we got here?
These are oysters. There's two kind of varieties. That's the other thing. Over the years I've been trying to get the strains. Like these are both blue oysters, but they're from a different culture, different provider, and so they just, some do better than others. Blue oysters are good for cold weather. These things can freeze and then they'll thaw out after the night and then keep growing, and they're very dense and meaty and just have a good shelf life and good yields coming off of them too. Especially like this strain here is not as good as this one. These, and the weather affects them too. So the blue oysters, when it's colder, they'll keep a lot darker with this nice blue, dark blue color. And then this strain is quite a bit lighter. It doesn't have that nice deep blue tinge, but they both run really good. They colonize the substrate quickly and the flushes are decent enough. But I really like this strain. I've been holding on to it for a few years, and yeah, just experimenting with different varieties over the years and dialing it in, and eventually I'll go bigger and hopefully the mushrooms will be cheaper.
A lot of trial and error in the process,
a lot of trial and error, and like trying to not spend too much money. So it's like I use these old ice cream buckets from the ice cream shop in town because they're reusable. A lot of people grow in bags like this commercially, but that's a cost with the bags. They're not cheap. It's kind of like working with the mushrooms and thinking like the mushrooms. You know, you recycle things and you try to use as little waste as possible, like using straw as a substrate, which is essentially like a waste product from agriculture. And yeah, just like reusing and recycling things just like the mushrooms do. You know, they take organic matter and help break it down, and that it drives the system of soil health and everything else. So
Yeah.
be like the mushrooms. Work with them.
Yeah, you got a pretty sweet setup over here with the
and so this is all garbage just invented. There's more garbage over here. Like I got a filter for the air intake going to the humidifier. That's from an old Kenworth truck. I don't have a lab because this is like sterile work a lot of times, so I use this glove box, bunch of garbage put together, some gloves taped onto a plexi box, and that's like a sterile environment. You spray it with the alcohol, it helps the mold spores get out of there, and it's more or less sterile. That's the way.
Yeah.
Save your baling twine from the straw, save your everything. And then over here, this is the bulk pasteurization chamber. So again, more garbage. Old 55-gallon drum, insulated, crane with a winch so I can like take it out when it's wet. And then this winch swivels like this and goes over. There'll be a tarp on the ground, and I'll knock that straw falls out when it's all pasteurized, and then I rake it around. It kind of like steams off some of the moisture. I'll let it cool down, inoculate it, and then throw it into buckets for the colonization, the spawn run.
Right. And when it's in there, you heat it up.
Yeah, so I have a water tank. There's an underground line, and then I preheat it with a wood fire, so I don't have to heat with propane.
Yeah.
And there's like a slow flow. Boom, pops in, gets to about 120, and then I just finish it off with this at like 170. Drop the straw, it goes down to about 160. Perfect pasteurization temperature. Put the lid on. There's a lid for the thing, and then pasteurize for an hour and a half.
Boom, you got nice clean straw.
Clean straw, pasteurized straw.
Pasteurized straw.
You want to keep the microbes because they help fight the bacteria and molds too,
Yeah.
and then makes it easier for the oysters.
Nice. Well, let's take a little bit of a break and wait for this rain to pass,
check.
and then we'll carry on.
Rain check.
All right.
Okay.
We're rolling now.
Oh God.
Okay, rain's passed. I mean, it's good we got some rain.
Yeah.
Like you said, those fires have been pretty gnarly.
Yeah. Smoke's down.
It's good, smoke's down. It's good for
Fires
your
are
gardens.
low.
It's good for the plants. It's helpful. Anyways, what's next up? What do we?
Well, we got to take
on
this.
the tour?
We got to take these little jar cultures to the root cellar.
To the root cellar.
This is the G1s, grain ones.
So what do you got in this? What do you got in? Give us the overview. What do you got here in this?
Well, we got
basket?
a hole in in the basket.
Yeah.
These are some liquid cultures and some grain cultures. So you take a liquid culture and you put a needle through this port here. It's like RTV silicone, and then you can stick a needle through it and
Keeps it all sealed up.
yeah, and then you can stick a needle through it and extract the mycelium that's suspended in the liquid.
Yeah.
And then you take that syringe and then you put it through this port on another jar that's full of sterilized grain.
Yeah.
You can see there's little grains in there. They're all colonized now. And then that will colonize the grains, and then you use this to put into another grain bag to bulk it up, and then that's what you would use to inoculate your bulk substrate.
Those ice cream bins in
your
the
fruiting
tank.
substrate, yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
Exactly.
Okay, and where are we taking it to? What's
that's
this
the process.
behind you?
This is a root cellar that we made because we got lots of roots to keep good for the winter. So there's like an Arctic entrance, I would call it, on here to lead down. Here we go. The handle broke off, and then we got a barrel to hold the door. Quality. And then there's some steps here. It's all insulated. This part, anyways, the top is there's 3 feet of sawdust on top of the the metal C-channel trusses, and then so you have truss, tin over top of that, 3 feet of sawdust, vapor barrier, and egg cloth, I don't know what you call it, and then this is just concrete that's slapped on there to make the wall. And so this front wall is all sandbags, and then there's wire mesh and concrete, and that makes this facade.
Sweet.
Looks like a cave.
And what, for those who don't know, what's the whole point of a root cellar?
Real
quick.
It's like a big fridge.
Yeah.
It's a fridge in the summer and fridge in the winter to keep the hard cold out. So
Especially here
if
where...
you come down, oh, we don't have any lights in here.
Oh, I got one.
You have a light? Okay.
We'll see
You're
what
gonna
it
need
does.
it because it's dark and dingy and
I don't know how
come
much
on
we'll need,
down. So you come in here. Ta-da! So there you go. You can see these fine trusses, and the ground level is about here, and then it's truss. This is all insulated too with rigid foam to keep that hard permafrost kind of shit out.
Yeah.
And it's what do you say? It's about 2-3 degrees in here.
Yeah, it's about fridge temperature.
Yeah,
Proper.
and it's perfect.
Yeah. Does it ever
Perfect.
what happens when it gets too cold?
So in the winter when it's like minus 30, 40, 50 even, I have this like thermostat controlled plug. So there's a little sensor here. This little sensor, and that picks up the temperature. And I usually have it pretty low because the cold air sinks. Anyways, when it gets to about 2-3 degrees, it will switch the plug on. The plug's connected to this 250 watt light bulb, and that's enough to heat up the space to about 4 degrees, and then it will turn off.
Keep it at its fine balance.
Yeah, the only problem with having a big bright light is it makes all the root vegetables want to grow. So these carrots are from last year, and over the winter they started growing. They're looking for the light. But they're fresh, still crispy. Here, can I crack this carrot at my mic here? Listen to this crispiness. Like full of dirt.
Nice. That way you keep
Fresh. These are about 8 months old at this point, I think.
Still
And so
good.
I keep all my psyllium bags and stuff down here because it slows down the growth,
Yeah.
so they don't fruit in the bags.
Yeah.
Keep the mushrooms in here. There's a few pounds of morels. Up from up the river, a few more pounds of morels.
Look at that.
And there's some oysters that I picked because they're ready to be picked. It's nice and humid too, so they stay
They like that.
humid. And then these are the big bags of grain that are fully colonized, and that they're just kind of in a dormant state with this cold, so they won't fruit. And then here's some lion's mane in a jar.
Nice. Look at that.
Fully colonized. Sometimes they'll start to fruit in the jars if it's too warm, so keep them in here. We got spuds. We got our purple spuds. They're eyeing up. These are from last year. You got your red spuds. Oh, these are the purple ones actually. They're purple on the inside. Real nice.
Yeah.
And so that's a year's supply of taters right there
Yeah.
from last year. And then they'll last the summer, and in the fall we'll have the root cellar full again.
Look at that.
So that's that. And then we have our blanket here for added insulation purposes. That's all I gotta say about that. Oh, there's also like an air intake for letting air in, and then there's a chimney to let air out. There's a French drain in the bottom of it to gather the water, and it takes it to a bucket. So if it does flood or the water level is high, the creek is right there. So if the water is very high, potentially go into the root cellar. So we hook up a sump pump in there, and it automatically pumps the water out of the chimney.
Nice. Yeah.
And that's that.
You got it all figured out, and it works well.
It works really well.
How many seasons have you had this for now?
Last year was the first year I had the Arctic entrance on it, so it worked really good last year. Before that, it wasn't as good.
It's been a bit of a trial and process, or trial
And
and
then
error
here's
process.
a good example of, I don't have any big strap hinges, so I made some strap hinges for the root cellar, and I foolishly asked Fred, what do you want? What kind of strap hinge do you want? And she said, I want one with a beat on it. So I foolishly had to follow up. She ordered a beat, so I chiseled this and then melted brass on it and then took off the top, and now you have a golden beat leaf.
Looks great.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit rusty.
Yeah. So those Morels you had down there, you just picked those, eh?
Just picked them.
Upriver.
Yeah. So I had brought, what, 60, 70 pounds to town fresh from my last day of picking. The rest we dry on racks out there to get them started. And then I have this mobile dehydrating unit, pop top. It's got these little pins that automatically lock when you pop the top. Well, they're supposed to. Doesn't work all the time. Again, more forged hinges. We have the light trailer, LT hinges. We have a Morel. It was a rainy day, so I made a Morel handle latch thing. It's a little bit tight. Oh God. This is a problem. Come on, you bugger. There we go. So then you can just put that down on here. And then these are probably ready to go. Usually when we're in the bush, we have a wood stove, this little pig right here. And then we pop the chimney out of the side with a couple elbows and keep the dry heat for when it's rainy weather like this. And there's 2 exhaust fans on the end. This is all 12 volt stuff. Right now I have a heater in here that's on the grid because we have electricity here. But in the bush we have solar panels and a battery, and then we have a little fan here that's 12 volt exhaust fans. There you go.
Yeah, it gets your mushrooms nice and dry.
Here's my big light. They get dry, crispy dry, like cornflakes. You want to hear that sweet cornflake rustle like. So this is just the very last batch. These ones were fresh ones that I brought back, and they're ready to go in the bags, really. Oh, they're still a little bit, they're not super crispy yet. This damn humidity, if they're totally dry and it's humid outside, they'll just soak it up again. Yeah. Gotta keep this heater on higher, maybe.
For those who don't know, Morels, pretty sought after mushroom, eh?
Yes, Morels are delicious and nutritious.
Yeah.
And vitamin D and stuff.
But you can't just grow them in ice cream buckets, eh?
No, people are starting to cultivate them, but the fire Morels, the wild Morels, I mean, they do it themselves. So if you have the capacity, you can go out and pick them, and it's very enjoyable.
They grow where
they'll grow after a forest fire or disturbed soil. They'll grow naturally, but not in large quantities. They're worth a pretty penny. It's a lot of work. You got to walk in the bush. You got to be comfortable. It's a little bit dangerous walking through a burn. There's all these burnt up trees, storms on the mountain when you're in the woods,
you're out in the
bears.
Middle of nowhere.
Yeah, we were 100 miles upriver. There's no help.
Yeah.
But
how many days were you out there last?
We were just out for a week. Not even 5-6 days. But we only picked for 3, 4 because we got to drive. It takes a whole day to get up there, a whole day to get back.
By boat.
By boat.
Yeah.
By boat. Beautiful commute though.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You've been picking mushrooms for a number of years now?
Yeah, that's what brought me up here. So I've learned a lot. I love the mushrooms. They love me back, maybe. Only the good ones. Look at these beautiful grays. All conical. No wormy mushrooms like some people pick. I pass over a lot of patches because I don't pick the old wormy mushrooms, and some people do. There's nothing wrong with some worms in your mushroom, but more protein.
Only the best
if you're
from
selling them, you don't want to sell wormy mushrooms to the city slickers. They're not down.
And then over there, do you want to talk about?
That's your house.
That's where we've been staying, but that's you built that, eh?
Yeah, this was my first big build. Like it was 10 years ago, probably 8 years ago. And we built this because
you're planning to live in there, right?
Yeah, the housing situation in Dawson is precarious. So we got the notion to jump on the tiny house train. And we built this house up Bonanza and then shipped it to town and finished it. But then our friend who was living in the big house moved to Whitehorse. We moved into the big house. And ever since then, like, the buds have been occupying it. People that need a short-term situation. There's been a couple long-term people. There's been lots of family. It's great to have a little cabin for your family and your friends to just keep them out of your hair and
That's nice.
and enjoy. You can, I don't know. You can look
We're not
inside.
go in right
Let's
now.
just look at the door.
I'll get
Come
some
on.
B-roll.
There's more hinges, forged implements.
Oh,
There's this
yeah.
beautiful handle made by Mike Armstrong.
Yeah. Put an Arctic entrance on it for winter time.
Arctic entrance, the Pink Palace entrance. So we made this nice little door, made these big strap hinges, pintle hinges, and then my brother recreated this latch. So I have an antique version somewhere lying around. Here's the handle from the antique one. So he really went on and did a good job, and his touch mark there.
Looks great. This is part of where you were learning blacksmithing, is working on this?
Yeah. That was the first.
And house building, I assume?
Yeah, well, I just kind of make it up as I go and look at other things and listen to people and
Yeah.
do it. Just get it done. It's got, the roof is interesting. That's an old mini ramp that I had made when I was younger. And when I got all my stuff shipped up here, the mini ramp came up and it's like aluminum angle iron.
Yeah.
That's on the radius of the mini ramp. So I put two pieces together, made some brackets to make that like Gothic arch kind of roof. And put a bunch of garbage on for the roof. It's very recycled material. All this tin is from the dump and other places. It's a classic Dawson style of like all this old tin. You got the Stelco, you got the Parks Canada tin, you got all of it. All the windows are recycled. All the shingles like came out of the dump, bundles of cedar shaped shingles. And the inside is other pieces of wood from different cabins.
It's great. I can attest to it's
great.
Well built quality.
Yeah, people live in there in the winter, and it's got a little tiny wood stove, and it stays warm and cool in the summer. It's pretty well insulated.
Yeah, you're doing good.
Yeah. Here's a sauna / shower in the summer. I don't know. This came off the mountain off Lovett Hill. We were moving cabins off because they were on a claim, and this one kind of fell apart. It used to be 2 buildings, and it wasn't salvageable for sale. The back's all rotten out, so we put it on the trailer, and it ended up right here because the trailer got stuck and we had to tip it off. So the door's a little janky, and put some camouflage wood on it from the highway. And so I don't know, on-demand hot water. There's a wood stove for sauna times, and copper backsplash. Little forged details, more garbage, copper pipe for the shower curtain, and I don't know.
Looks great.
It's just got a little switch to turn on
Works
the
great,
water.
too.
Look at this, woo! One switch.
Gets warm.
Yeah.
Pumps water.
12 volt all the way. So shower in the summer, sauna in the winter. Keep yourself clean,
Beauty.
more or less.
More or less. All right. Anything else you want to show us here?
Well, I don't know. We got to
Take a
get
walk
Fred
through your
to
gardens?
talk about the chicken coop. The chicken coop used to be another chicken coop, and we skidded it over to this side, that side, and that side were the old chicken coop, and then we built a little timber frame for the center, a bunch of pallets on the floor, and I don't know, $0 put into it, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, should we go get Fred, and maybe Fred can tour us around the gardens and the farm and the chickens?
Yeah, we can do that.
Nice. All right. Well,
Yeah.
let's take a walk over there then.
Okay. If you say so.
We're on, yeah.
We're
I got
on.
Fred here now. Say hi, Fred.
Oh, hi, Fred.
So, Fred, you're gonna tour us around
The Chaos Garden.
the Chaos Garden.
Yeah.
Chaos gardening is
It's just growing
Is the thing.
abundance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Abundance of everything. Those are not mine. Those are my friends. I'm babysitting plant for someone
Yeah.
traveling. But
Yeah.
all you can see in the horizon looks like nothing. But there are multiple amount of plants for medicine use and food use and for just flower in general. And for tea, I harvest a lot of plant for tea or leaves for the winter. That's why I have a lot of currant. Black currants are my favorite. So I have bushes all over the property. Like that's a big one there. They're the best. Like you get like young leaves and then you dry them. And then you can smell a little bit.
Oh, yum.
Yeah, and it gets like more potent as it goes.
Yeah.
And then Jake loves chives, so we have chives patch everywhere, which is good.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know. There's rose that are
Roses.
right now in transformation from the rose flower into like baby rose hibs for doing all sorts of jelly and rose water and jams and whatnot.
Yum.
I got chamomiles a little bit everywhere because I love the tea. So I have like chamomiles flower just kind of stashed away everywhere and everything. And they're very good partner plant for to help grow for like flavors and whatnot of so many other plants. So it's nice to just chuck them everywhere.
Yeah.
This is the Chaos greenhouse, which I kind of forget half of what I've planted where. So it's just a combination of everything: plants, flowers, spices, things that do well together, that improve growth and repels bugs
Yeah.
from one another.
You got tomatoes and
Pansies. We have some mint down here, like nasturtium and marigolds, and I have some random leeks that I had kicking around, and I got calendula kicking around in there too. I got my apple tree that I've been wintering for a few years now. It's just a little baby. We'll see. And some dill. We got baskets of spices that I usually bring inside in the winter so I can keep growing spices year round,
yeah.
which is very nice. We got cilantro and parsley and all sorts of different kind of parsleys everywhere, and little tomato chaos. And then got some weird scallion, I guess, there, and also obviously chamomile, because they do well together.
Yeah.
So we just
Have you always been a gardener, a green thumb, or is this something that you like?
my family, I grew up with gardens everywhere. Like my dad and my mom were two like very prolific gardener in like their own like sphere. My dad is like mostly like vegetables and like spices. My mom was flower. So I kind of grew up around it, and then travel for quite a long time, and then craved the need of growing things for very many years until I established myself properly, so I could actually just get things on the go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of establishing yourself, do you wanna big up your all your ribbons here?
That was last year for the horticultural fair. We've been trying year after year to enter some stuff in the fair and then win a little ribbon. And last year we kind of went all out.
Yeah.
And then we're like, let's bring as
Look at
many
this.
things. Like went with the list of everything, and then just like morning, just cutting everything that we could bring in, and then end up with the third prize of the fair, which is great. We still have to get our things bigger and better so we can beat up all the OGs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's a process too. Like, even if you grew up growing stuff, still like up here it's probably a whole different beast.
Yeah, it's like trial and errors, and then trying to grow as organic as possible without using like chemical fertilizer, and then just like processing your chicken poo to try to make manure that would be a good addition, and then like bone meal, blood meal, and things that you can kind of scavenge around, and looking for like all sorts of different plant tea, like nettle tea you can put in your plant for addition, and there's like so many things you can kind of research and like geeks about.
Yeah.
Try to make it so you can grow better things.
Yeah, and you've been learning off people who've been growing stuff up here for longer.
Yeah, like
right?
sharing knowledge with each other, and then the lady that owned the property before us already had started like the place like very well, and like gave me a bunch of like tips and tricks.
Yeah.
And then trying to like go along the same line that she was trying to grow things around here to respect her wishes after she passed, because that was a big thing for the property when she lended it over. And we've been trying to have that same mentality with her the way we grow things and we approach like food industry and whatnot. And then we try stuff like these guys are a new addition. It's not yet in the ground. They're Jerusalem artichokes, which I'm pretty excited about. They look like nothing, but I believe they make like a tall flower that kind of looks like sunflower. And then they make those like little tuber things that are delicious. So these will eventually live in this pile, but it has to be worked with. Take the raspberry out and then mulch the ground and then probably till it a few times just to try to make it appropriate for the Jerusalem artichokes to go in.
What kind of other stuff you got going on over here?
I got a little perennial that I've been trying to establish for a very long time. The lily of the valleys.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Yes, they're my childhood flower from my mom's house. So I really wanted them to be here, and I finally managed to have flowers after 3 years. So it's a success. And we do have rhubarbs all over the place. Those monstrosity. There's like 3 more over there. Another one. Need some care. They're bolting right now.
Yeah.
And then this is Chaos Garden. We have cabbages and broccoli and cauliflower, and over there some turnips and asparagus and some spices. We got some kohlrabi that I've tried last year, and they're pretty fun to grow. They're like a little alien ship. Them.
Pretty hardy too?
Yeah, they are pretty hardy, and they actually keep pretty well in the root cellar. Do you guys went in the root cellar already?
Yeah, Jake showed us the root cellar.
So we can like keep like onions in there, and then kohlrabi and our cabbages and turnips, carrots. I had garlic, but then I keep that inside because it has to be drier, because we have a big patch of garlic over there. We have also like beets that do amazings. They look like nothing right now because it's early. But yeah, they will eventually turn into different thing. And then we have, a lot of berries. We do a lot of berries like raspberry, blueberries. We've been taking from the wild and reestablishing in the property, which is nice. And a lot of haskap. Haskap do amazing up here. They just kind of tend to do their own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we also have your contribution from your old house. That's
the flower beds.
The flower beds. It's a kales and Swiss chard, so they're just little wee one right now, but they usually explode and get really big.
You guys end up with a fair bit of food at the end of the season, and throughout the season?
Yeah, I can, and I do process a lot of food as far as like dehydrating, canning, pickling, blanching, and like what it's called, vacuum sealing, like bags to like keep things over the winter, so we can like rely not mostly on our food for sure. Like there's like bits and pieces that we need to get from the groceries, but it's nice to be self-sufficient to a certain point, especially living up here. It's like food security is like a big component of living up north in remote place that
so far from
that access can be cut so easily as far as like food chain, and like trucks and can't come up because the road is washed out or fire or landslide or over snow. Like there's so many components that could kind of put you in a very precarious situation.
The precarity. So finding solutions to precarity.
Yeah.
Got to be pretty ingenious, bring a lot of ingenuity to the
and then like so berries are a good like source of like fruits and whatnot as far as like jam and like making like syrup or freezing them over winter.
And are these native to up here, or is this something you brought in?
I don't know about Saskatoon. I wouldn't think so, but they did adapt very well. Same for like the haskap. Like these guys, like they're already growing. Like you can barely kill them. And there's so many different variety. Like they're starting to make their little buds, and they just thrive. Like they thrive really well for like such a harsh climate. I'm hoping for my Saskatoon to be a bit more prolific, but it's like the berries and then the currants.
it's a long process. It's not just like one season. You got to think about things like
A little
years
bit,
in
yeah.
advance a bit, right? And like
Yeah.
have
And, like,
patience that eventually they'll start to grow and take. And,
Totally, yeah. It's like just looking at your plant growing and getting bigger and year after year, so you can like kind of plan in the future. I guess it's like plants in general, like looking at a tree growing as you
Yeah,
grow. But
yeah.
yeah, trying to make it work it, and then it's just nice to have it around.
Yeah.
It's like in the yard. I don't have to go to the grocery store on a daily basis, and like knowledge of plants and other herbs and grasses, and because you can use all sorts of things like chickweed that's often considered as like a weeds.
Yeah.
Could be used for making pesto, for making green salad. It's like very nutritious. Same for like dandelion and like all sorts of other pests for most people that if you know and learn how to work with them can turn like as a very beneficial like addition to like your diet or like your kitchen
Yeah.
in one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, just learning as you go.
And then like now we have like, I don't know, with internet you can like learn so much information, but also like sharing with peers that been up here for so long,
Yeah.
that have that knowledge, and then just like keeping it around and then doing your own like trial and error and see what works for you, what doesn't.
Well, especially for localized knowledge. For this place has all its own challenges and.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of like native plants that are being overlooked by a lot of people that are just growing around, that like they have there's so many potentials for like so many different things.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just have to make sure to harvest them at the right time because the season goes very fast.
Yeah, very short.
It's easy to miss out on something.
Well, everything just booms with the midnight sun, and then
Yeah,
winter comes on extremely quick.
totally.
Well, that brings us to your feathery friends.
My feathery friends, yes, we are in a transition right now with the fencing. They're getting a new palace, so we have an old fence area. And then the new one that's being built, it's chaotic because everything is destroyed right now. But it's time to rebuild. So feeders will be rebuilt, and spaces and dust bath and whatnot. There's that very squishy area you can make your way in. And then I got an issue with chickens. I've been ordering fancy eggs over the years, so I get some little bearded chicken. I got some Brahma with fluffy pants. I got all sorts of funny pattern chickens.
Giant rooster.
I got giant rooster. His name is Gilly for me, but a Godzilla for others.
A big guy.
He's a big boy with big fluffy pants.
Yeah.
And I got my little group of duckies.
Ducks as well, yes.
Yeah.
So
Very messy people. They're very messy, but they do well for egg laying. They're a mix of Indian runner and some kind of Pekin duck, I believe. And they lay like year round, no problem. Winter, no problem.
yeah.
Yeah, not susceptible for disease compared to chicken. Have so much issues with chicken over the years, but ducks, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, very prolific.
And their eggs are so rich. And
They are very rich, and like often like bakers and people to make pastries and whatnot appreciate them for that.
Yeah.
And I mean, most people also have more friends that are asking for duck eggs than
Yeah. so
chicken eggs.
yeah. Well, that's it. You get lots of eggs for yourself, but you've been able to like
Yeah, I've been
share
able
the
to
egg
share.
wealth for
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is nice because like there's so many omelets you can eat, you know.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, no, there's I don't know where my treats are. Oh, that's where they are. Wait. I don't know if I have any eggs.
Oh, flip-flops was the right choice.
Here you go.
What are you feeding them?
Little worms,
Little worms.
little grubs.
Yeah.
Get them online from Canadian company that makes little mealworms, and those are, I think, black soldier's fly, which
Oh,
are
yeah.
way more their protein level is much higher, and it's better for these guys.
Good for them.
Yeah, mealworms are good,
snacks.
but larvae is a bit better.
Yeah.
And then
Look at them go.
and then we got an egg.
Nice, and you got some babies inside too, don't you?
I do have a few little babies that I hatched in this like a month ago.
Yeah.
And then they're different breed that I wanted to introduce in my flock. So I got a couple Icelandic chickens, and then I got 2 more Brahmas coming. I was hoping to get some a pair for my big boy there.
Yeah.
To get her a couple ladies, hopefully. Time will tell if they're boys or girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, did you grow up with chickens, or is this something
Oh no.
you kind of learned on the fly?
I
and
learned on
figured
the
out?
fly.
Yeah.
I wanted little pets. I grew up with pets a lot of animals, but that's just having like pets inside your house when you have a small house is a thing, and then when you have a lot of space outside and can turn pets into something that you can fill up your freezer with and then fill your fridge with eggs. It's like dual purposes, like meat is a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been doing like meat bird as much, but I've been trying to collect like breed that can be used for dual purposes that would do as well for like meat.
Eggs and meat.
Yeah, eggs and meat, and then the plan is to eventually just breed my own, and then maybe like every year I can like kill like a few and then just have like whatever I need for my winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this will be nice with this nice big new coop that they're getting, is Ron?
Yeah, with a covered roof is going to make such a big difference as far as the muck. Because, yeah, water is a big thing, and it just keeps the ground wet, and then that's just more prone for like fly development and like just grossness.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like much. I should show you a picture when it's all done, because this is just construction site, but yeah, we're gonna eventually finish it and make like another little pony roof, I mean, that would just come down to half, and then this is the pool for the duck usually, so they can go and swim in there when I can't let them out to go to the pond by themselves, which is that's the nicest thing.
Oh,
But yeah,
it's looking good. And these all this wood that you used to build this new fence, you were
I feel like we
shaved
harvested.
it down.
Yeah.
You harvested yourself, shaved it down,
Yeah,
debarked.
Debark, and then Jake used like a tenon mortise kind of, I don't know, like giant pencil sharpener for trees, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then just made it from the forest to the farm. Yeah, it can't be that easy, you know. Can't just go to the mill and get regular wood like someone else.
Yeah, lumber's expensive enough in the city. Like,
it
imagine
is.
shipping it up thousands of kilometers up here. So
It is, yeah. And it's just nicer. I don't we like to do things from scratch. It just has more character, and it's nice to look at.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you know it's well built when you built it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's like
If something goes wrong, you know who to blame.
Yeah, totally. But I have faith. I mean, we've built a bunch of different structures and like had projects over the years, and none of them have failed so far.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep our fingers crossed.
And only getting better, right, with more experience and
Yeah.
more time.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, good for you.
Yeah.
It's really looking great around here.
Cool. Do you wanna?
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well,
Anything else you want to check out?
anything else you want to show us?
I don't know.
We'll take a little break. I think Jake want to take me over to the
Next door.
Blacksmith Shop. So
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, this is so nice. Thanks for
You're welcome.
thanks for having us here and touring me around and
I'm happy
talking
to
about
have you.
resiliency and creativity and gardening and chickens and ducks. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Miss you guys up here.
I do too. I miss you guys. It's nice to have the two of you
Yeah.
at the house for the week.
Yeah. Hi, Jake. What are we doing?
Oh, hi again.
Hi.
Well, I have all my tools on this side from a demo there last week for Yukon Riverside Arts Fest. We need to take some of these things back. And Johnny, grab that bucket.
I got your bucket.
Get the heavy one.
All right.
Okay.
Now what?
Well, we gotta mount the gate on the chicken coop, so we gotta go and get the hinge pintles that are on the other side. And you don't go anywhere around here without hauling something heavy. You're crossing the creek, You're hauling something.
All right. Yeah, what? We just got the fence up on the chicken coop.
Yeah.
The new chicken run.
Chicken runs
So we're going over
up.
your shop.
Which canoe full of water do you want to take? Oh, they're both full of water.
Yeah, well.
Well, we can deal with this. This one's pretty light, so I'll just deal with this one and empty it. Could have had the birch bark canoe, but
You used to have a bridge here, eh?
yeah, the bridge was always temporary, but it did succumb to the ice flows and the flood, the great flood of 2023. So the great flood of 2023 provided us with lots of sandbags full of gravel, courtesy of you, Johnny. Over here freezing your butt off in the icy waters of Quigley Creek. So we took all those sandbags and we made a landing.
Oh, that looks good. Look at this.
Weaved some willows.
Weave some willows.
And
That's great.
dumped the
Looks nice.
sandbags in there.
Yeah. On your birch canoe.
This is the birch bark canoe
It's holding up,
made
eh?
in 2018.
Just a bit of water in there.
Well, it's got to swell up, you know.
Yeah.
And it rained.
Rehydrate it.
Rehydrated.
It's been up in the attic for a while.
Yeah. I'll put this guy up front. Right. Oh God.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that guy could tip over, so careful when you're getting in. You're gonna get in up here in the middle.
All right.
You don't. I'll paddle. Don't worry.
Okay, sick.
You get in the middle. Don't tip. He's a little tippy,
Oh yeah.
but pretty good canoe. Sports pal.
Pretty solid.
She's solid boat. So ever since the bridge collapsed, now I got a canoe. The beaver dam went out too. Used to be able to cross the beaver dam, and now I use my canoe as a paddleboard.
Beaver dam down there.
Yeah, what's left of it. So the
little
footings,
footing from the bridge.
the footing actually washed out in the flood, and I rebuilt it. Okay. Well, I'll just get out and stabilize for you.
Yeehaw.
You good?
Yeah.
What? The rock's gonna be slippery.
Oh.
It's gonna be slippery. It's cold.
And we out.
Okay. You grab that bucket.
I got your bucket.
Grab that bucket. Okay.
Get that bucket. All right.
You must be warned. It's pretty messy.
So, all right,
So
look at all these rocks.
This is a
So,
industrial wasteland.
for those who don't know, what are these rocks all about?
This
Big
is
old
the-
rock piles.
This is the industrial waste left over from the dredge when they ripped up the valley to look for the gold. And we spit the rocks out the ass end of it. And so now,
Big old dredge
Yeah, pile
mining
of rocks.
machines.
yeah,
They're giant boats, eh?
yeah,
Floating
big
their own
boats with a
pond.
big crane on it.
Just
Dig down 40 feet,
chewing up
spit out it.
land and spitting out rocks.
Yeah. Now it's an awful mess in here because I extracted everything, and so it's not to its full glory, but I don't know.
Pretty good looking shop.
It's
It's cozy.
it's cozy in the winter, heats up quick,
Yeah.
but it's minus 30. I start a fire, go over, make coffee, come back. It's warm up to about this level, and then down here it's still minus 30. But once the forge is going, some birch in the fire, it's warm. And you get hammering and it warms right up. But it looks like a friggin' mess because I took all my tools out and flailed everywhere, so it is a flail.
That's great.
But it was just always a temporary shop because I wanted a shop the winter we moved here. So I grabbed a bunch of pallets, made pallet wall, put a pony wall up, put some lumber on the top. I think I bought a couple of sheets of plywood, but the rest is all mill offcuts and some insulation from the dump.
Hey, it works. You made a lot of great stuff in here. Yeah?
I made a lot of stuff in here. Yeah, there's more coming, but not today.
What do we come over here for?
Just
for the gate.
Oh, for the gate. Yeah, that stuff's under my table outside.
All right.
So watch your shins on this big horn here. So my arbor press that's probably seized. Oh no,
She'll go.
we'll go. So there's this one and this one. Is that the right one? I think this is the right one. One of these is the right one. I think it's this one.
Bring them both.
This one's better. And then this is for the bottom. I need to put holes in it still and chop it off.
Wow.
So that's that.
Yeah.
There's my new kitty cat.
Oh, look at that thing.
Look at it. Just look at it, Johnny.
Need a bit of love, eh?
Well, it runs. Stuck in third gear.
Yeah.
Needs some hydraulic fluid and I don't know. Hot deal.
Yeah. How can you pass up
Off
a cat
grid.
for $1,000?
No, can't pass it up.
No.
So
Nice. Well,
that's that.
it's looking good.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing us your shop.
We should walk up the hill and look at over the garden. There's a
Wanna do
good
that?
shot up there.
Let's do that.
Sure, why not?
Now you start
I'll
making.
catch up. I'm just gonna grab my beverage. Or, what was that?
You started making films too, eh?
Oh yeah, with your help and guidance.
Working on Super 8.
Yes.
Any
True
six-
films.
Any 16 millimeter?
I took a class last year with Dan there and we shot some 16, but I'm working on a film and it's kind of on hiatus because a lot of it didn't turn out.
Yeah. Hand developed here in Dawson City by yourself?
Yeah, with just plants.
Yeah, you're using the Eco Developer, eh?
Yeah,
Caffeinol.
Caffeinol. I did some Caffeinol. I did some random plant things.
Yeah.
This might be hard in sandals, but it's kind of a solid few rocks. Ta-da! So there's everything. In the winter you can see everything a lot better.
Yeah, it's all just green now.
Yeah. But
I mean, that's nice though.
nice little breeze.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at it. See Josh's place down the creek?
Yeah. Rock piles and ponds and trees and rocks.
Yeah.
Trees and rocks.
So that's why I bought that cat in the dump truck really, because now I can grade all this driveway and this pad.
Yeah.
I want to push this pile into that hole and then I'm going to build a big shop there because it's
Nice.
the closest to the end of the driveway, so it's less to shovel.
Yeah. Looking good.
And then I'm going to punch a road in along this side, like a little trail, and then there's a nice little pad kind of area out on the point there for a retirement cabin
Heck yeah.
for the old
You
man.
got all sorts of plans.
Big plans, big plans.
Big plans. Figure it out as you
We got
go.
land sick.
Keep stocking.
It's like Woody Guthrie called it land sick.
land sick.
You get land and you get sickness of what am I gonna do with it?
Yeah. Keep stockpiling stuff from the dump to build up.
Yeah. Treasure.
Keep
This
foraging.
is an experimental garden to see how things would go in the rock pile. Okay. So you never cross the creek without bringing some stuff.
Don't go empty-handed.
Well,
So yeah, what do
this-
you got going on here? This is your experimental rock garden?
Well, I just thought I wanted to see how well tomatoes would do on the rock pile because it's so warm. And I don't know, I just set up this barrel with these drip lines so I didn't have to water it every day.
Yeah.
And it worked kind of good. I got some tomatoes, but I feel like, I don't know.
Are you gonna do it again?
I feel like you need bigger beds. I want to do big beds on top of the dredge ponds, on the top of the piles, because you get like steam coming out of them.
Oh yeah.
So in the spring, it would heat up a lot quicker, and you could have these big beds on top of the piles and just like grow tons of garlic or asparagus, or maybe just plants that are harder to grow here. All winter it will keep the soil warm too.
Yeah.
So it's like a big chimney from the groundwater.
Yeah. Harnessing the heat that the rocks hold. And...
Yeah, and it's like a thermal
nice
mass.
You want this cage too?
Might as well.
All right.
Cool.
Looking good.
Get back in the boat.
Well, thanks for showing us your shop.
Yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed. It's filthy, but we had to come over anyways, and I got you to haul some heavy stuff, so yeah. You earned it.
I don't know if anybody expects a blacksmith shop to be particularly clean, so.
Well, any other blacksmith would. They would be devastated by the state of that.
It's all right. You do good.
Better than no shop.
You did a big community art project, didn't you?
Well,
Part of the Arts Fest?
Yeah, well, I had games there. I had a forging demo. I was doing some forge welded hook things, and then we had fun games. Oops, I dropped my cigarette. Yeah, it was good. Just getting some exposure, you know.
Not just picking mushrooms, not just blacksmithing, not just growing food. You're an artist too.
For the children.
You're an artiste.
Games for the children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good of you.
Try.
All right, well, it's just about dinner time, eh?
Yeah, it's time to cook some nam tok, char siu, pork bellies.
Nice. Well, thanks for showing us around, Jake.
My
Really
pleasure,
appreciate it.
Johnny. We'll see you on the YouTube channels 2000.